What is going on, my Masketeers? We are here to talk about Stranger Things Season 4 Part 1. And with that being said, let's get straight into it. So, Season 4 picks up a couple of months after Season 3. So, we are still in 1986. Joyce, Will, Eleven, and Jonathan have left Hawkins and they have moved to California, where essentially Eleven is having a hard time kind of fitting in now that she's lost her powers and she's basically just like a social outcast. And you forget that Eleven is actually weird, that she spent her entire life as a government lab rat, but because she was around like the original gang and they were all just a bunch of weird kids, you forget just how tapped she is. But now that she's like in normal society, you realize, yeah, this ego eating girl, she kind of different. As that's going on, we go back to Hawkins, where even there, like the original gang, they aren't the same anymore, in the sense of this is like a new school year and they're trying to redefine themselves. Well, at least one person's trying to redefine himself, and that is Luca. So he has joined the basketball team. Now, let me say this. He hasn't even joined the basketball team and he's playing now. Lucas is literally on the bench. Man got the high top and everything and he ain't even allowed to be out here doing the free throws or doing any dunk. Man is just riding that bench waiting for his big moment. The rest of the guys, I say the rest of the guys, you know, like literally it's only freaking Dustin and Mike aren't really trying to be popular, you know, like they're still on their D&D thing, they're still on being nerds and embracing who they are. And Lucas is like, nah, we've been losers all of our lives. This is our chance to kind of change up the dynamic. So he's going for it. And, you know, I can't blame him. All that is happening. Somehow, something starts targeting teenagers in Hawkins. It's a creature from the upside down, which should be impossible since 11 closed the door, but somehow this thing is able to get through. And the gang have called this creature Vecna. As you know, D&D name references. Yeah, Vecna is targeting specific people and there's a link that each one of his victims have, which is quite interesting. And if that wasn't enough, there's a third plot happening because Joyce, Murray are literally going to Russia, go and rescue Harper. Somehow Harper survived and he is trapped in the gulag and they have to go to Russia to save him. And there's another twist. In the same Russian prison where Harper is being kept, they actually have a captured Demigorgon there as well. So it's a lot going on. It's a lot. I'll say this, when it comes to the acting, top notch. Everybody here gave amazing performances. And again, they've been with these characters for quite some time and they've literally grown with these characters. So it's very easy for them to become these characters, but not only that, to tap into new aspects and kind of explore new themes within the characters, because this essentially is a coming of age story. So when you have these actors who've literally grown in these roles and gone from young teenagers to young adult, you get a range and a spectrum of talent, which they all possess. Now, this moves on to my second thing, which I really liked about this show. I would say that the Duffel brothers were able to tap into horror in this show. This season is much darker than the previous seasons. And don't get me wrong, the other seasons have been good in terms of them keeping certain dark elements, but I feel like this season is where it's been the darkest and it's been done in such a way that is actually intriguing and it adds and drives the plot quite well, because when it comes to the deaths in this season or the victims, the people that got taken by Vecna, his method of how he kills them, one, it was very reminiscent of Freddy Krueger, who comes into the dream world and whatever he does in the dream world affects in the real world. I feel like they definitely pulled from that bag. They definitely watched Nightmare on Elm Street and they said, how can we incorporate certain elements of Freddy into this? Funny enough, one of the characters in the show is literally the man that played Freddy Krueger. That's how I know they were in that Nightmare on Elm Street bag when they wrote this season. And I thought that was like a really cool Easter egg. And yeah, it did it to an amazing degree. I loved the violence. I loved every death scene in this season. And now that ties into the action side, right? Because action-wise, Netflix gave these people the bag and said, you know what? Go at it and really push the boundaries. If this is going to be the final season, Stranger Things put us on the map. We're going to send you guys off the right way. go on and do your thing, because this season, in terms of budget, definitely this feels like a film. And that's what each episode felt like. Each episode was a movie in and of itself. Again, worked so well. My third thing which I liked about this is actually the villain. The villain has ties to 11, and how their stories intertwine is actually done in a really cool way. I really like that. With this being the final season, the one thing where it kind of lost the personal touch was the fact of there was no real connection to the villain. Season 1, it was personal because they were just trying to get Will back. But then after you got Will back, it was more of a case of, okay, there's a new villain that's coming. So season 2 was a new villain. Season 3 was kind of like the continuation of the mind flare that came in season 2. But again, there was nothing personal in terms of the connection between the villain and 11 or the kids. It was just a case of where he's trying to get into our world, but it didn't really do anything. Whereas this one, they've made it personal, and they've also touched upon 11 and the program that created 11's history and how it was made and where its origins began, which again, I feel like if this is going to be the final season, they've done they've done the best that they can to try and make the connection, to make this as personal as they could, which I really like. And it drives so well into the narrative they are trying to explore this season. How will all end? We'll find out in part 2. And there's like a lot of other stuff, but like I said, I don't want to give too much away. I want people to literally go in there, watch it, and then take it all in. There was too much time spent with Joyce Murray trying to get into Russia and Harper's whole Russia part. To me, it's pointless. I'm going to be so honest with you. I would say that was the weakest part of the show for me. Everything to do with Joyce Murray Russia was dumb. It really didn't make, it didn't need to be there. Like, Harper not being dead is one thing, but the fact that he's in Russia and he's been held captive, it doesn't add anything to the plot. It literally just takes time away because nothing was happening. Like, there's no development happening. Even when it's revealed that the Demogorgon is in the gulag where he's been held, again, it doesn't do anything because Russia and like that whole Russian plot has never really been tied into the upside down. So yeah, like, it just never really made that much sense. And depending on how the show ends in part 2, to see like what's the real tie-in to Russia and the prison in regards to Vecna and the upside down. If they can't find a way to actually make that storyline make sense, then it's pointless. And like I said before, it literally just took time away from the thing that I really cared about, which is the gang and Vecna. And that ties into the second thing which I didn't like. They split the gang up too much. And I get it. Before, when you had multiple plot lines happening, working towards one unison, that worked in season 3, but in season 4, it just felt forced. The reason being, you literally have 3 groups, or you can say 4 groups, right? So you literally have the folks that are back in Hawkins, which is the main gang, minus Mike, Will, and Jonathan. Because again, they're in California. And they war with 11, but then 11 gets taken from them. Well, she doesn't really get taken, should I say. Dr. Owens comes and he offers her a chance to get her powers back. And he said, if you come with me, we can restore your powers so that you can literally fight Vecna and stop the upside down from coming into our world once and for all. And with her going with him, you then discover that she's reunited with none other than her papa. And her papa is basically the one that's saying that, listen, we will teach you how, or I will show you how you can get your powers back. But not only get your powers back, I can put you on a level that you were never at before. So you will be at your apex, essentially. And so 11 is with those two developing or trying to rediscover her powers. So then that leaves Will, Mike, and Jonathan. And they team up like with Jonathan's new friend who's just like a weed head that gets high all the time, and they're trying to find where 11 is. And then you go back to Hawkins, and Hawkins again is the main gang, and the main gang, they're the ones who are really dealing with Vecna. And that's the crazy part. The crazy part is 11 even trying to get her powers back. She doesn't even know that Vecna and the Upside Down is back. She has no clue. All this is happening in Hawkins and she's not even a part of that. And so her trying to get her powers back is literally her being told that there's something coming and she's the only one that can stop it. She has no idea that it's already here and it's already killing people. They've split up the gang so much to the point of where it just sounds, or it looks at points, very jumbled. Like a lot of stuff is just coincidence. Then you put the Russia thing on top of it, and it's a bit too much. Especially like for the final season, I feel like it should have been more of a condensed storyline, similar to season 1, where you had multiple viewpoints, but it was a condensed storyline to where you knew where it was going. Season 4, I feel it's a bit spread out, and you can bring that back in, tighten it up, it would be perfect. But like I said, they might bring it back with part 2 and showcase how everybody's storyline ties in to the whole narrative. So I'll wait to find out how that's done. My verdict, I would give Stranger Things Season 4 Part 1 overall an 8 out of 10. It wasn't perfect, like I said, some parts not needed. Well, not right now, but Stranger Things Season 4 has really lived up to everything that they've built. Nothing that they've shown me in terms of pacing, in terms of characters, in terms of action, and also in terms of visual display has been a letdown. So yeah, overall, I can look over the negatives of it and give it an 8 out of 10. How will it all end and what will be my final verdict? Well, when part 2 comes out, we'll find out. But as it stands, Stranger Things Season 4, 8 out of 10. Highly recommend it. Those are my thoughts, my opinions. Please go off in the comment section. Let me know what you thought of the show. If you've watched it, are you liking it? If not, tell me why. And if you haven't started Stranger Things, then now is the time to jump on board. And I will catch you guys next time. Peace.